Today is the 36th day of the government shutdown, and that makes it the longest shutdown in U.S. history, or one of the longest. And it's even longer than the 35-day one under Trump in his first administration. Now, this shutdown mainly happened because Senate Democrats and Republicans can't agree on a continuing resolution or clean CR, where Republicans are wanting a clean CR where there's no government changes at all, with the continuation of like the budget and everything. And then while Democrats are wanting to increase spending on like Obamacare and keep that back, increase spending on like Obamacare and make sure those like benefits don't run out. Now, this shutdown in the first place wouldn't have actually happened first of all, if Republicans and Democrats would have actually been able to come together. But another reason is the filibuster. The filibuster is where you have to get like 60 votes in the Senate to actually move on and vote on a bill. Now, and that's actually one of the main reasons that the continuing resolution hasn't been passed, because Republicans don't have 60 votes in the Senate. Now they have above 50%, and they have, I think, like, was it 52 or it's 52 or 53 votes, and that's not enough to get over the 60 votes needed to break the filibuster and actually vote on a bill. Now, Trump, and because of that, the filibuster is like a main reason the shutdowns happened. And now, because of that, Trump's actually calling it for an end of the filibuster. And this is actually going to be, I actually strongly support the end to the filibuster, not just for the shutdown, but for many other reasons. One of the main reasons I support the shutdown for the filibuster is because I see it as very undemocratic. Now, one party and was voted for in the Senate, and people voted for those representatives and to actually push laws in the Senate and Congress. Now, because of the filibuster, the party that has like the most votes, the 50%, above 50%, can't actually get any laws passed through because of the filibuster, and that actually slows down like the implementation of what the people voted for in the election, and thus making it very undemocratic, as the people that they voted for can't actually pass the laws they want, and this results in laws that the laws that they want not actually getting implemented because they have to negotiate with the other side of the political aisle, and you can't actually push any policies that are good. Also, this is also bad because you can't get rid of policies that other administrations in the past supported because of the filibuster. Because it makes it harder to remove and enact laws and even make new ones. So it makes it so there's basically no new policy change whenever there's a new president and Congress, a new party's got the majority support in the Senate. So it makes it extremely hard for policy changes, which is bad, because you can't get the policies the party that was voted in supported. Another reason it's bad is because it actually slows down the legislature, not just with new laws. It also slows down their ability to react to things that are happening in the world. So for example, if there was like something that goes on like an economic thing with like tariffs, or one country tariffs another country, and let's say a country like, let's just say China, decides to put a tariff on the U.S., the legislature can't act because of the filibuster. It's hard for them to pass a new tariff, like right after like China says the tariff. And now the Congress has the power of the purse by the Constitution. So theoretically, they are the ones that are supposed to be making the ones in control of like tariffs or everything like that. But due to the fact that they are very slow to react, it's hard for them to implement like new tariffs in response to other countries and other actions. And those things they need to like tariffs and even like military actions by other nations need to be responded to fast. But the legislature can't do that because they are so slow, and the filibuster is one of the reasons they are so slow. So with the removal of the filibuster, it will actually speed up government functions and strengthen the legislature. Another reason I also support the legislature is because it also strengthens and I support removing the filibuster is that it strengthens the legislature. Now, currently the legislature is like really weak. In comparison to like the executive branch or even the Supreme Court. And that one of the main reasons they are so weak is that they have, first of all, given a lot of powers to the president. Second of all, it's because they're so slow that a lot of times you have to enact policies. If you want to enact policy changes, you have to have the president implement an executive order. And like it has to say an executive order to actually pass to get any policy changes. And that makes the legislature extremely weak, as the executive now is sort of independent from the policies that the legislature says. So it's inherently, the filibuster is inherently weakening the legislature and compared to the executive. So it would actually be really good to get rid of the filibuster. And another reason you don't want like an strong executive is that if you have a too strong an executive and all the power centralized in the executive, then it's easier for like someone to become tyrannical, because the head of the executive branch is just one person, and that's the president. And without like a strong legislature to keep the executive in check, they can just centralize more and more and more power. And that can eventually lead to tyrannical government, as eventually they'll have enough power to like ignore the legislature and the judicial branch. And I strongly do not want that, as that would basically violate our Constitution. So I really, really do not want I really do not want that. So getting rid of the filibuster would actually make the legislature like more fast and easier to pass laws, and they can also more easily check the president if they remove it. Now, some people actually say that the fact that it's a slow-moving system with the legislature, it's actually good because it gets more time for debate on certain topics. Now, I entirely disagree with this, because we debate topics for forever, for like 10, 20 years, and those policies don't get changed until like 10, 20 years later from when they brought it up. For an example of this, you can just look at stuff like tax policy, what was it? Well, you can do Social Security as an example, although I don't think this is like a major example because it's not very popular right now. But in my opinion, we've talked over the last 10 years, 10 to 20 years, Social Security has become more of a debated topic, as a lot of people think that it's become a drain on the money system for like our debt. And due to the fact that we have the filibuster, it slows the legislature and they can't make policy changes. And also another thing is that due to the fact that the legislature's weak, they can't like help control like the debt level, because the person in charge of like the money is Congress, as stated by the Constitution. And the fact that and with the filibuster, it's slow to react, and this is like it's one of the factors I think that also contributes to like their ability to actually control like how much they spend. Because if they were able to get through pass policies more, I think they would have eventually be able to get like the budget down, like the deficit down. But that would have there's many factors there, but I think that's one of the factors is the filibuster. Um, so you should just get rid of the filibuster. Um, Another thing with the filibuster is that there's it also results in bigger bills. I've always preferred like smaller, more concise bills that aren't like a big regulatory mess. That are like small and concise, no lumping in different topics with different things. Like for example, the Big Beautiful Bill is one of them. Now it has some good things, it has some bad things, but it's all lumped in together into one big bill, and that makes it so some people have to actually vote for stuff they dislike because it's such a big bill. And one of the reasons that it's the bills are so big and they have so much stuff in them is because of the filibuster. Because you have to negotiate with all these different parties, all these different interests. Where if you had the filibuster and you cut it, there's going to be less people you have to negotiate, less interest you have to pay attention to, less political interest that you have to get on your side to actually support the bill. So with that, you could just have a better bill that's like smaller if you remove the filibuster, which that will help with making the law less confusing and making it more clear at who is voting for what. It also will help with legislatures like choice of what they support. Instead of like lumping everything in together, they can support smaller bills that help with like individual issues in comparison to like these big bills where you lump everything together. So so that's another main reason that the filibuster is actually great to get away, to eliminate the filibuster from. And I actually love that Trump's doing this. And I would love the Senate to actually just do it right now. The issues that you kind of need to overcome the filibuster, to remove the filibuster. So that's another reason it's been kept there for so long, is because whenever the filibuster becomes an actual like main issue in the political realm, it's always when one side's filibustering the others, and they use it as a tool to like block someone else's bill. So neither side is gonna. So when those like the main issues, the filibuster is like actually brought up, one side always has an incentive to keep the filibuster there, and the other side doesn't. So the filibuster is gonna be there for like forever until we somehow change it. And I strongly wish eventually they remove it, because it will also help with it will make the legislature less chaotic and less prone to like emergencies like the shutdown, because they can actually respond to them, as I pointed out in an earlier point. So in total, I just think the filibuster needs to be totally removed, as it's not a good. It's not good to have the filibuster there, for the reasons I've stated, which are slowing down the government, which the reasons are because the filibuster slows down the government, it incentivizes bigger bills, it's less democratic, and they can't respond to stuff. So yeah, the filibuster just needs to be removed, as it will allow for a better, more functioning legislature.